Alright guys, today I'm going to go over some Icon ratchets with you guys that I bought and purchased. If any of you guys watch my videos, you can tell that this guy right here in the center, I've already done a review on and actually showed installing this kit right here. Got upside down, guys. Installed this kit right here in it and showed you that it will work in there. Showed you the reason why they're different, and showed a snap-on ratchet opened and the Icon opened as well. So you can see there's a difference between the two, and that the dual pulse system will not work in the Icon, but the gear will work. And I'm going to go over a little bit of one of the things I don't like about these ratchets that I found, and I believe Royalty Auto had mentioned it in a half-inch drive as well. Feels like it kind of sticks or binds, and the reason behind it, and I'm going to explain to you guys. And if you watch my other video, you'll understand when I installed this. So let's get into it here, and I'll show you what I got to work with, and show you what I like and what I don't like about it. So I can do this review, take these to work, and use them, and get a little more information about them. Alright, one of the ones that I'm going to do the review on today is this R3XLKG. And that is a half-inch drive, 26-inch extension with a phenolic or polymer handle. The other one I'm going to do the review on here as well is this R2LKG. This is a 14-inch locking extension, and this is a flex head as well. So we're going to review this one, open this one up. This one right here we have already opened up, and we did a short review on it as well. R1XLG. You have to forgive my fingernails there. I got into some grease early this morning. Just out in the yard there screwing around. But anyways, like I said, 1/4-inch drive, R1XLG, G2 ratchet, 12.5-inch extra long ratchet. This is not a flip head. This is a fixed head ratchet. And as you see, I have put the head back in it, which is the 1/4-inch with the Icon plate. One of the things I didn't mention about this Icon plate versus the snap-on plate when I did the conversion is the snap-on plate is just a little bit smaller in this opening, and this Icon one will not fit in the snap-on. But if you go back and look at that video, you can get some intel into what I did. Same polymer handle. And last but not least is going to be this guy here, which is a R1LKG. This is a 1/4-inch drive ratchet. This is a flex head, 9-inch long locking flex head ratchet, and this is another G2. So if you want to know the item numbers on any of these, this particular one is 70451. 14-inch 3/8 drive flex head is 70446. And for the half-inch 26-inch flex head is 70437. And for the long 12-inch non-flex head, the item number is 70439. So all in all, I really like these ratchets so far. I haven't opened any of these. I do have a 3/8 one at work that I have been using, which is this guy. And what I've done is put the 3/8 head in it. So this is a 1/4-inch ratchet, and I put the 3/8 head in it. And I'm going to see how it works out. When I originally did this conversion, I did it at work. So it wasn't the first time I did the conversion on camera. So that would be the second time I did it. The reason why I did it that way was because I wanted to know if it worked. I want to know how it's going to hold up. And I used the flex head more. This is a pretty long ratchet for a 1/4 inch, 9 inches long. So having the 3/8 head on it was great for plugs, ratchet, just an all around good size ratchet for 3/8. It seems a little too long for 1/4 inch for me. But let's get to opening these and talk a little bit more about them. You have to forgive me for just a second. I forgot to grab a knife or a pair of dikes or something to cut this stuff with. I'll be right back. And I did find something, and my wife is going to kill me, but we're going to do it anyways. So I'm just yanking this sleeve off. I don't really care about this sleeve. Some guys have talked about keeping this tray. For what reason, I don't know. But if you want to put that in your toolbox, store your ratchets, you know, more power to you. Just not for me. So we're going to get in the back here. We're going to cut this tie strap off. Of course, they're going to be stubborn about getting it out of this package. I don't have a screwdriver to push these tabs out. I don't know if you heard that or not. I had enough of that. So right off the bat, I really like how smooth this ratchet is. One of the things that you'll probably see in the videos from Royalty Auto is on a 1/2 inch, they said that it was binding up. When you would turn it, you can feel that it starts to get tighter and then locks up. Then it gets loose again, approximately 1 revolution, a couple revolutions. And the reason being, I think, behind that is this anvil inside of here for the snap-on. You see there is no step on the back of this. It's perfectly flat. Well, in your Icon ones, they have an actually machined hole in the ratchet head, and then a step on this anvil, which actually centers it. So I think what's happening, the sloppiness inside of that, and then when you have this pawl inside of it that's actually wrapping around this gear, so what's happening, it has no give to it whatsoever, so it just keeps stacking the spring up, and eventually the spring gets tight, gets bound against the pawl, gets a little bit tighter. Once it makes it over it, it breaks loose. They do not put a lot of lube in these ratchets. One of the things with the Icon ratchets is if you put lube in them, what ends up happening, they end up sticking, they don't work right, they lock up. I don't know if it's a tolerance issue or just a design flaw issue, but most guys are putting some kind of Royal Purple or some kind of thick lube inside of these, oil consistency, and not like a lube consistency or a grease consistency. And that's when they seem to work the best. But all in all, I think this is a really good ratchet. One of the things I like about it, it's almost identical to my Snap-on, but it uses this lever very similar to the Matco. And as you can see, I could turn this. None of this clicky bullshit. When I talk about clicky bullshit, I'm talking about this. I know a lot of guys out there like this detent. It's never in the right spot when I need it. This one is stiff as can be. This is a gear wrench. This is a 90 tooth. Really great ratchet. Really smooth ratchet. I have no complaints about this ratchet other than this. Can't stand it. That being said, this is Old Faithful. This is a newer one that I have at home. This is an 80. This is FLF80A. So this is my go-to ratchet. Absolutely love this ratchet. Got multiple ones of these at work, different handles, hard handles. This is just one I keep at home that I bought and warranted. It's obviously an older ratchet that was unrepairable, and then I got a newer one for it, so I ended up bringing this home. But to get back on the subject of the Icon, I really like this ratchet so far from what I see from it. And like I said, I do have a 1/4 inch one I converted to 3/8 at work, and I'm absolutely liking that ratchet. And when we get to that ratchet, I'll explain a little more why. But so far, I mean, just from what I see from this one, as far as chrome, consistency of, as far as the stamping, lever, even the lever on these is a little bit lower profile than the original Icon ones. Just everything about this ratchet is just a little bit nicer than its predecessor. Really like the handle. People say that it's better than Snap-on. People say that they're saying a lot of things about it. In all honesty, this is a complete knockoff of a Snap-on rubber handle. I mean, if you pick one of those up, you probably notice about the same. There's very subtle differences with them, but this is more of a Snap-on circumference, as far as grip and everything else, and size. It's almost identical. One thing I like, they're starting to put the numbers down around the handle here, and they have a boss on it. A lot of the earlier ones didn't have anything on them. They're very smooth and narrow. This right here, I believe, is a little bit thicker than a Snap-on. I don't have one here to really compare it to, but when it gets up in this area, I really like how slim this area is right here. I really don't like them when they're really wide and really flat. The earlier Icons that came out had an issue with that, and they're very wide here. I did not like that at all. To give a kind of an example, only one I have here is this one, and I'm talking about this right here. You see how that sticks out? They did a very nice job as far as the machining in here, the details to make this function and work. It's a lot slimmer. And this right here is fairly slim, but if you pick up an Icon, you notice it's big and bulky, especially on the 1/4 inch. Just didn't like that about the earlier ones. And if you're wondering if I went out and bought these just because they came out, no, I didn't. I actually had some broken ratchets at the house, and what I did was actually just took my broken ratchets back, got credit for them, and put that amount of money towards the purchase of these. So my old Icon ratchets that the head broke, they were stripped out, bolt bracked out, and broke the ear or spread the thing or whatever happened to them. If the handle was just worn out and all cut up, I took it back and I put the money towards buying these. So all in all, I don't really have a whole lot of money in these. I think by the time it was said and done, I ended up having to buy one ratchet. So it really wasn't bad. It was an investment. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. It's actually an upgrade. So that being said, we're going to move on to the next one. Not sure you want to sit here and watch me try to get that package off, but I'll do it right behind the scenes here, so you don't watch me struggle. Unless you're in for a good laugh. I have to forgive all that violence behind the camera. Alright, once again, you see how great the chrome is there. I mean, you can actually see my light right there in the ceiling. So, very good chrome job. Very good machining. No sharp edges. Like I said, very good attention to detail as far as this inlay right here, where it's been machined out for this lever. Flat on this side. Very slim line on the sides here. Like I said, this ratchet actually locks. It's 14 inches long. Like I said, the icon, the logo is stamped in there. The on-off is in there. If you look at this one right here is a little bit high, but it's still lower than the original icons. The only thing I think they could have done with this was actually recess this a little bit and put the lever underneath it. On this particular one, the bolts do not pass all the way through and attach to the plate. They actually hold the plate to the ratchet. What does that say? Sealed head ratchet. As you can see, that was locked up there for a second, and the lever on this was stuck in limbo, so it wouldn't turn. But you hear that it spins fairly smooth. Have no issues there. Flip it the other way. We have no issues. The lever is locked. You can lock this in multiple positions. And this is kind of a struggle unless you get it in the actual groove. But it's kind of nice. It doesn't move. Has limited movement compared to most. Good size bolt holding it in there. Same polymer handle that they all have. Like I said, if you compare this to a snap-on one, which I don't have here, I kind of refuse to buy snap-on ones because Snap-on considers this to be consumable, and so I buy hard handle ones, hard red handle ones, instead of actually the phenolic grip or comfort grip they call it. So this is very compatible to that. They copied this very closely. There may be some subtle differences, but it's more or less a snap-on handle. They can say what they want, but that's they're riding the coattails of Snap-on's what they're doing. Once again, you see the boss around the handle here, which I really like. In their videos, they claim that this shank extends the full length. Now, Snap-on does not do that. I haven't taken this off here to find out. I don't have any intentions of doing it. Maybe somebody will in the future, but that's not one of my intentions, to destroy this ratchet to find out if this is actually goes the full length of the shank, goes full length of the handle. So that's one thing that maybe somebody could watch this video, and if they want to tear the ratchet up and make a video out of it and verify that, that'd be great. But one of the things I hate about Snap-on is when I go gripping on it, I grip too close to the edge, I can feel that flex. About that much of it on a Snap-on, you can feel it flex. I have broke that off right there on some of my older ratchets. It's one of the reasons I got away from the comfort grip and I went to a solid red grip. Not to mention they warranty it. If that cracks, breaks, whatever, they warranty it. I don't know there's much else that I could go over about this ratchet without putting it to a little bit of use and verifying that it's better than what they had. But just from appearance, just from opening of the box, it's definitely an improvement. From handle to chrome finish to just how it works. They slimmed it down here in the neck. For the guys that do not like the clicky, this is the best of both worlds. This is very similar to the Matco. I'm not a big Matco fan. You won't see me buying any Matco ratchets or anything else. I'm not a big fan of snap ring in the back. If you looked at my videos, you know how I feel about them. I have bought some gear wrench. They're inexpensive. Something I keep in my cart, something I keep in the service truck, so I don't have to worry about it walking off, and I don't care if it walks off because I think gear wrench and Matco ratchets are just garbage. When they work, and they work great, they do, but when that snap ring falls out, just a ton of little issues with them. Just not. I think they're the biggest bang for the buck that you can get as far as inexpensive, but I don't think they're anything as quality as these. Next one I'm going to go over is this Icon 12-inch one here. For a 1/4" ratchet, this seems kind of stiff to me. One of the things I noticed when I did the conversion on it, it got a lot smoother, and that's how I was talking about how that step on the anvil kind of sets in here. I think that creates a little bit of resistance, a little bit of preload when it sandwiches that in here, and it also causes the spring on the pawl up here to really, when it runs around and it runs away and kind of gets bound up in there, it causes more teeth to catch at one time and causes it to kind of bind a little bit. Not the worst back drag I've ever felt, but for a 1/4" ratchet, this one definitely feels tight compared to these two as far as a 1/2" and a 3/8. So that being said, like I said, I have already converted one of these ratchets over, and I did a video on converting this ratchet over as well, and it seemed to get smoother. And I think that, like I said, I think it's because of the step that's on the back of this that supports this anvil. The snap-on does not have a step on it or supported inside the ratchet, and it works fine. I've converted one over at the shop, and it works fine as far as the icon. So I think this is going to be a good ratchet. I'm hoping that they come out with a flex head of this version, and I will do the same thing to this that I have done to the flex head that I have at the shop, which is a 3/8 now. We're going to move on to the next ratchet, and that is the ratchet that I have converted at the shop. I don't have it here right now, but instead of being 1/4", it's actually a 3/8, and I'll cover more of that when I talk about it. More violence, guys. Could be my wife beat me for using these. Once again, like I said, this ratchet right here, this one here, I believe I said was 9 inches long. Yeah, 1/4", 9 inches long. And is what I've done with the one at work that I did purchase, is I've put that 3/8 snap-on head in it. I bought two of those. Let me grab it here. I bought two of these guys. I had one already. I couldn't find it, so I went ahead and bought another one. My snap-on guy came in. He actually ended up giving me a plate because he had a couple plates that he had from warranty. So when he warrantied them out and he put them on, he had an extra one. So he gave me the plate at no charge, and I bought this kit. So what I ended up doing is I eventually ended up finding this other kit, and is what I ended up doing was converting this 9-inch ratchet to a 3/8, and this is what I've been using at work. I think this 1/4" ratchet is too long. That's just my opinion. It's nice to have leverage every now and then, you know, depending on the area that you're working. But I found with this ratchet here is what I really liked is when it's got 3/8 head in it. It's pretty much universal all the way around. You can use it for a 3/8 ratchet. You can use it for a 1/4" ratchet. I take that back. You can't use it for a 1/4" ratchet, but you can use it in the areas of a 1/4" ratchet that you can't use a 3/8. So putting these guys side by side, you see the difference in diameter. So I mean, this ratchet is 9 inches long, and I think that's just crazy. Here's your normal snap-on one, which is 6-7 inches long. This is pretty much a go-to ratchet for me at work and just about anybody else in the business. You find that this isn't long enough sometimes. You find this is usually the right length. This is what everybody's accustomed to. This is what everybody has modeled the flex head ratchet off of. And even Snap-on, when you get their phenolic handle or polymer handle, it's longer. But this guy's 9 inches, probably because of the locking mechanism on it. So, like I said, is what I've done is just went ahead and put this 3/8 anvil in it, which is a conversion for a 1/4" snap-on ratchet, and I've been using the piss out of it. The only difference between the one I have at work, it's a different part number. I believe it's the same part number. The only difference is they machined a actual groove in this to reduce the diameter to 1/4 inch so that it would shear, so it wouldn't damage the ratchet. At least that's what I'm thinking, the reason behind this cutaway is in this 3/8 anvil, is so it won't overload the 1/4 inch ratchet and actually break the ratchet itself. This will shear, it will be rebuildable, less warranty issues for Snap-on. So like I said, what I've done is, originally I purchased this one. I put that 3/8 head in this one. I've been using it at work. I absolutely love this ratchet. I don't use any other ratchet right now at the moment, but I do use this one. I use it for a lot of things. Intake bolts, water pump bolts, compressors, stuff of that nature. And it has been great. And like I said, the only difference between the anvil that I have here and the number that I showed you and the one I have at work is it doesn't have the cutaway because it's an older anvil. I bought it a while ago because I was going to convert my long flex head one over like Mr. Subaru did and have somebody machine the plate for me. Well, needless to say, I bought the plate. It cost me like $7 for the plate. I gave it to the machinist that Snap-on recommended, and he says, I stopped by there, I'll drop it off for you. The guy's had it forever and just hasn't gotten to it and has been forgotten about. So Snap-on man just gave me another plate. Oop. So eventually is what I'm going to end up doing is actually taking that larger plate, because on the Snap-on the bolts pass through on the back on the longer ratchet, and they're threaded in this plate like this one. Well, this one's not threaded, but this has got bolts holding the plate down, but it has threads in it instead of holes. So is what I'm going to end up doing is actually eventually machining that out and then drilling or grinding it out. Not going to grind it out. I'm actually going to use a end mill, the correct that size end mill, and I'm going to put it in the drill press to see if I can drill that recess for the O-ring after I drill it out. And I'm going to attempt to do it myself. I'm tired of waiting on the guy, and eventually, like I said, if that don't happen first, I'm going to convert the flex head icon over to a 3/8 if they ever make one. So, but right now at work, this is one of my favorite ratchets, and like I said, it has a 3/8 head in it. So I went ahead and bought this one to replace the one that I purchased because it is now a 3/8. And one of the things I'll say is it is smoother with the flat Snap-on head in it than it is with the stepped anvil head in this one. This is very tight. If you put that Snap-on 88 gear tooth or 72 gear tooth inside of this from this kit, it gets way smoother. So that is my take on these right here. I don't think they're bad ratchets. I think they're a little on the expensive side. They are coming in about 1/3 of what Snap-on is. It's still inexpensive. But my biggest thing is this is a knockoff of a Snap-on. This ratchet is a little over $100 after sales tax. It may even be close to 120 bucks or something like that. This is more or less an identical knockoff of the Snap-on. In 50 years, 100 years, or whatever it may be, even 20 years, are they going to be making this ratchet anymore? If you pick up a Snap-on ratchet, it's the same as it's been for 100 years almost. They made this ratchet almost identical to this for almost 100 years, and they have upgraded it to where it's, it's got more teeth in it. The head might be a little bit bigger, but overall it's kept the same design. And if you got on the Snap-on truck from having a ratchet 100 years ago to current date, you're either going to get it fixed or you're going to get a new one, and it's going to look basically just like what you already had. So when you buy this kind of stuff, it could be gone tomorrow. They may not be making any more of these. With the tariffs that's taking place, who knows who they're going to source to next. It's just one of those questions you just don't know. The quality of this, I'm sure that if you don't abuse it, it'll last you a lifetime. But the thing, when you buy Snap-on for 1/3 the price, you're paying 120 bucks for this, maybe right around 90 to 100 bucks if it's on sale. It's 288 bucks, I think, for this ratchet right here through Snap-on. And like I said, 100 years from now, you get on a truck, you're either gonna have parts for it, or you're gonna get a ratchet that's very comparable to it and looks just like it. So that would be my only complaint with, these, and that they're import made. But all in all, I'm very happy with them. I have no complaints about them. I'm gonna take them to work and put them to work and see what happens. I will give you some more updates on this guy. Like I said, the one at work right now, I converted it over to 3/8. I did it on a whim and decided to make a video on converting this 12-inch over. Since everybody was so vague about it, it really aggravated me when I watched the video. And like, they show you the head of the face and then they flip it over and they go, "Don't that look familiar?" And there's a snap-on face in there, or a snap-on plate in there with a 3/8 anvil, but they don't tell you what they did. It's not hard to figure out, but it's just very aggravating. So I decided to do my own video, even though I had already done it at the shop with this guy. I figured since I had another kit, I purchased another kit and had two kits, I would make a video on it. So that's kind of where I'm at with these ratchets. I'm going to take them to work, put them to use. So far, from what I see, I'm very happy with them. I don't think anything's ever going to replace this right here. People say Koken. I'm not a big Koken fan. I like the back drag on the 1/4-inch ratchet. I could care less about the 3/8 one. Like I said, this is a hard ratchet to beat. This is my go-to ratchet at work. The only thing that's replaced it recently has been this guy, like I said, and I put a 3/8 head in it. As far as this one, this is another ratchet that's just hard to beat, and I did compare them to these because this is what they are copying. Very happy with this ratchet. I got a couple of these ratchets, use them all the time. Probably one of the best ratchets on the market. The only thing that really beats this that I really like better is the Koken. One thing that pisses me off about Koken is the lever. Every time I think I got it going in the right direction, I don't. I'm so used to, if I want to take a bolt off, I push it forward. You go in the direction of the bolt. If I'm taking it off this way, that lever's pointed that way. If I'm taking it off, it goes that way. Koken is just the opposite, and every time I think I got it going the right direction, I don't. It's just a very aggravating situation. But as far as the functionality of the ratchet, I like that ratchet more than any other ratchet that I've used, as far as dash work and just how fine it is. If I got to get a bolt out I can't get my fingers in there to turn it, if I can get the ratchet in there, that ratchet turns it. It's the back dragging on it is just phenomenal. So once again, I think Snap-on's got the win as far as a lot of these ratchets on the market, but I think Koken's the way to go as far as all the 1/4-inch stuff, if you can deal with the lever. And I have a bunch of gear wrench. I tend to accumulate these and try these, give them the benefit of the doubt. I keep them in my service truck. I keep them in the go bag. I have them in my car. They rust up, they get locked up. I don't really give a shit. I hate to say that, but I'm not a big gear wrench fan. I think they are a good bang for the buck. I think for a service truck or anything as far as, a to-go bag or anything like that, I think they're a great ratchet. Their warranty is phenomenal, but I have to say that the Icon stuff is, at this point, is a little better. Using these a little more, I could probably contradict my statement, but at this point, I really don't like these guys. I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about them. You get what you pay for, guys. Like I said, warranty is phenomenal. Great ratchet. Depending on what you're using it for what I use these for, I think it's great. Like I said, kit bag, to-go bag, tools in my car, service truck. If I leave it on a job site, I ain't brokenhearted. So that's kind of where I'm at with these guys. I I'm going to end the video there. I'll let you guys form your own opinions. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be glad to answer them. Other than that, I think we're good to go. Give me a like, share, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.